guys, thanks for joining me for Junior Bakers. All right, today we're going to be making sheet pan pancakes. We have done this before at the Boys and Girls Club, so maybe some of you remember this, and it'll just come right easy for you to make them, even though it's pretty easy. All right, so hopefully you have the recipe handy, but I am going to show you or tell you that if you don't have all those ingredients, or if you're feeling kind of like a little lazy, it's all right to feel lazy, you can just go ahead and use pancake mix pancake mix to make the batter instead of making it from scratch using your own ingredients like flour and sugar and eggs. I think this one anyway calls for water, oil, and eggs, but then it has all the other stuff in it that you could use. But today we're gonna go by using the recipe, going from scratch, and it's pretty easy anyway. All right, so you're gonna need measuring devices, you're gonna need your bowl, you're gonna need a sheet pan. I picked a big one. Don't look too closely, my sheet pans are kind of cruddy, but they work fine. And some of the things that you want to put into your pancake batter for your final product of your pancakes. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, we're going to follow along in the recipe. So I already have the oven preheating on at 425, and then I'm also going to just coat my pan, my sheet pan that I have here, with some cooking spray. If you don't have cooking spray, you can use a little bit of butter and smear it on, or you can use a little bit of oil and smear it on. Not too much, just enough to coat it so that the batter doesn't stick. Or you can use Crisco if you have any of that. But I'm going to just use my spray. Got my spray. And not too much, because just enough to make it so it doesn't stick. All right, done. Chackety chackers. Okay, then we set that aside. Then in a large bowl, we're going to start mixing our flour. All right, so it calls for 2 cups of flour. So I have a big a good measuring cup here. That is a 2-cup measuring thing, so I'm going to fill it up with flour. Sometimes I use the little device I've shown you before, using flour so it's not clumpy, but with pancakes sometimes it's okay that it's a little bit clumpy, the flour. All right, so I'm going to put 2 cups of flour in there. Then the next thing it says are brown sugar. It calls for 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So I've got my brown sugar. It's so sweet and sticky, and that calls for 1/4 cup. And then I'm going to pack it down a little bit, make sure I have enough. I got it. It's good. I'm going to put that in. Oh, I forgot you're going to need some stirring utensils too. I'm going to put that aside. And then our baking powder. And that is, let's see how much we need for that. Baking powder is 1 tablespoon. All right, so remember, tablespoon is big. Sometimes kids ask me, or people ask me, how can you tell the difference between a tablespoon and a teaspoon? Well, I always say a table is big and a teacup is small. So our tablespoon measuring device is big and our teaspoon is small. All right, so it calls for a tablespoon, so we need the big table. All right, so tablespoon. And then I just use the can to straighten it out on the top so it's not too much, not too little. All right, plunk that in, put that to the side. And then we also need some salt, and that calls for 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, but you can use any kind of salt. And that's 1/4 teaspoon. So that's really tiny. That's like a baby tea set here. Okay. All right, so I have my little tiny 1/4 teaspoon. Put that in. Bingity bangity boom. And then I'm going to stir that up a little bit. Let me get I'm going to use a wooden spoon, kind of gently just mix that all up. Then it says to whisk in the eggs, milk, butter, and vanilla. All right, so let's get some of this stuff prepared as we get our wet ingredients to go into the bowl. We don't have to have a separate bowl of wet ingredients if you don't want to. So I'm going to make a well. So that's kind of a hole in the middle of all of your flour. So when I get to putting in some of the liquidy things, it can go right in the center, and then we're going to fold it in. All right, so first things first, it calls for melted a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter. If you have salted butter and not unsalted butter, that's fine. Just don't put the extra 1/4 teaspoon of salt into your batter if you're going to have salted butter. It's fine. It'll come out great because you're going to put delicious things in it either way, okay? Or if you forget. So we need a 1/4. So if you have a 1/4 cup of butter. So if you have a stick of butter, a lot of times it has the little directions on the side. Thank goodness. So you don't have to figure it out or cut it, and measure it, and scoop it. So this one it's 4 tablespoons makes a 1/4 cup. So I'm just going to cut on the line where it has the little line, and make sure you ask first before using a sharp knife or if for cutting. And I'm going to put it in a small bowl, and I'm going to put it in my microwave for, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds just to see, because you don't want to cook the butter, you just want to melt the butter. We don't want to have burnt butter and splatters everywhere. Okay, so while we're doing that, it also calls for 2 eggs. So I got my eggs, and we can just crack them into the well of our flour. Ba-boom. 1, 2 eggs. Okay, put that in there. And now it also calls for some milk. I think it's 1 1/4 cups of milk, of whole milk. I don't have milk at my house. I have some almond milk, and I've cooked with it before and used it a lot of times. So I'm just going to use my almond milk, and it cooks fine, works fine. All right, so my butter still needs a little more melting, so I'm going to do another 20 seconds. I can feel my oven on. All right, let me get I gotta get a whisk here, and then I'm gonna fill up my cup because it says 1 1/4 cup. So I've got my measuring device here, and we have 1 1/4 cups right here. So I put my finger there for judgment. Okay, and then I'm gonna pour that in, because it's really no fail with pancakes. And then we also need, I think, some vanilla, 1 teaspoon. So we need the smaller measuring spoon, not the teeny tiny one that we had before, but the smaller one, teaspoon. And it's okay if you put a little more, because vanilla tastes delicious. Okay, let's put that to the side. All right, and then it just says we gotta remember the butter. Or I have to remember the butter. Okay, excellent. It's all melted. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my whisk, and I'm going to carefully start mixing my ingredients. You can kind of like press down on the eggs to get them a little bit broken up so that they get all combined into your batter. Okay. Now I'm going to add the butter in too. I'm going to start adding that in because that is going to make it delicious. So I'm going to put this in the sink. Okay. And then it says just combine and stir until smooth. Now when I make pancakes, sometimes it's okay if there's a little bit of clumps. I don't mind. I like my pancakes, when I make pancakes, I like them a little bit thicker. I know some people like them thin, like really, really thin, and some people like them thick. I like them thick and hearty, you know, so you can put lots of maple syrup on top. So good. All right. I like using both hands because one arm gets tired, and I'm kind of ambidextrous anyway. That means ambidextrous means you can use both hands pretty good, pretty equally. Well, I mean, not equally. I can't write with my right hand. I'm a lefty, but I can't write per se with my right hand. I guess if I had to, I could learn how to do it. But I do a lot of things righty, and I do a lot of things lefty. I'm a very odd person. Okay, so anyway, now we have that, and we are going to combine. Today it says, well, we were going to originally do some berries or strawberries, but I'm going to do my own little thing. I'm going to add some strawberries into my batter. I already had them sliced up. Make sure you ask first, too, before slicing and dicing. And then I had some vanilla chips. Put some vanilla chips in there. Not too many, because we'll get the sweetness from the maple syrup. And then I'm going to put some banana in. Okay, so I'm going to have strawberry, banana, vanilla chip. Sometimes people do banana and nuts, or chocolate chips. I didn't have any chocolate chips on hand. Chocolate chips don't stick around very long here in my house. They get eaten up pretty quickly. All right, so let's move along here. I'm going to slice up all the bananas. A lot of times bananas can take over the flavor of things, but with pancakes, I guess it doesn't really matter because it's kind of breakfasty and delicious. Okay, so I'm going to mix those all up. I guess I don't really need my whisk anymore. I'm going to switch up back to my wooden spoon. Oops, a couple of chips stuck on there. Okay, I'm going to mix it all up. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put all of your batter onto your pan that you sprayed, and then you are going to cook it, or bake it, not cook, bake in the oven for, it says 15 to 18 minutes. And you can check on it maybe 10 minutes in just to see how it's doing and see how it's golden brown, because you don't want it to burn. And it is going to fluff up. So if you think you don't have enough batter, you'll be surprised when, after you spread it out on your pan, how much it's really going to make. Okay. And then, actually, this could be as a dessert, too. I mean, you can have breakfast, some breakfast things for dessert at nighttime. It tastes good. Or you can have breakfast for dinner. We do that a lot in our house. Okay. And I'm going to spread it out onto my pan. Real good if you need to use a spatula to kind of spread it out. You can do that. I have my little handy dandy spatula. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, I'm spreading it all out. Make sure the fruit is kind of evenly spread out. If you feel like you need more fruit, or you need more chocolate chips or vanilla chips or whatever you're putting in, you can just sprinkle it on top. That's not going to hurt it or make the baking process fail or not work. Okay, it's just pancakes. It's good. All right, so here I got some more batter in here. I might as well put the batter in here. I should have used a spatula before to scoop up every last little bit. I don't know how this batter tastes. Maybe it tastes all right. I know everybody likes to lick the spoons and lick the bowl when we're all done baking. It's always so good. Oh my gosh. Okay. One more scoop, and then I'm going to put it right in the oven. So 15 to 18 minutes. Make sure you check it at around 10 minutes. Depends on your oven or whatever. And then you're going to put a toothpick in the center, or one of the highest points of the pancake batter, to see if it comes out clean. If the toothpick comes out without any batter on it, it sounds like it's done. Okay, so make sure you use your oven mitts when you're putting things in and out of the oven, and ask permission, and make sure you clean up. All right, and then when you're done, slice it all up, eat up. All right, thanks again for joining me, Junior Bakers. Hope to see you again next time. I love sharing all these fun recipes with you. And send me some pictures. Take pictures of you eating your stuff and send them to me, Doreen at nantucketboysandgirlsclub.org, or upload them yourself on to social media, but @ Nantucket BGC. All right. And also, if you have any requests of things that you want to see me make or share with you, include that in your email with your pictures, or if you want me to do a shout out for anybody on the video, I'm happy to do that. I will give a shout out to anybody. All right. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye.